Greetings, folks. Welcome. A very important part of applied economic data analysis is analyzing the relationship between two variables. Certainly, the relationship between price and quantity is at the heart of the study of demand and supply. If you take a labor economics class, you might look at the relationship between education and earnings. There are a couple main ways that we can analyze the relationship between two variables. One is through using a cross-tabulation table, which is the subject of this video. A second main approach is through the use of a scatter plot, which I'll cover in a different video. With a cross-tabulation table, you show one variable across the columns and a second variable down the rows. A nice feature of cross-tabulation tables is that we can look at quantitative and categorical variables. In the case of a scatter plot, you're only able to show the relationship between two quantitative variables. Here's an example of a shell of a cross-tabulation table that looks at the relationship between Instagram followers and celebrity type. Down the first column, you have actor, athlete, comedian, entrepreneur, musician, reality TV, and other. These are categories of celebrity type. And going across that top row, you have less than 10 million, 10 to 50 million, and over 50 million. So these are classes of a quantitative variable that's the number of Instagram followers. We count up the number of observations in the data set that fall into each cell. So for instance, there are 43 observations in the data set that are both an actor and have less than 10 million Instagram followers. Likewise, there are 7 observations in the data set that's somebody that's a reality TV star that has between 10 and 50 million Instagram followers. You can see that the lowest frequency in the table is a combination of a comedian with between 10 and 50 million Instagram followers and an entrepreneur with over 50 million Instagram followers. So there are a couple ways to move from counts to percentages. The first approach is that you can divide the count in each cell by the row sums. And that would tell us, for each celebrity type, the percentage of people with less than 10 million, 10 to 50 million, and over 50 million Instagram followers. A second approach is that we can divide the count in each cell by the column sums. And that would tell us, for each class of followers, the percentage of those who are actors, athletes, comedians, etc. Here's a cross-tabulation table where we divided the counts in each cell by the row sums. So here we see that of the actors, 78% have less than 10 million Instagram followers, 15% have 10 to 50 million Instagram followers, and 7% of the actors have over 50 million Instagram followers. Of course, if you add 78, 15, and 7, you get 100%. Moving down the table a little bit, you see that 58% of the musicians have less than 10 million followers. 23% of the musicians have 10 to 50 million followers, and 20%, or 1/5 of the musicians, have over 50 million Instagram followers. Again, for every type of celebrity, if you were to add the values going across the row, they sum to 100%. Here's a cross-tabulation table where we took the second approach of dividing the counts in each cell by the column sums. So here we see, of those celebrities with less than 10 million Instagram followers, 31% of them are actors, 24% of those with less than 10 million Instagram followers are athletes. Going down the column a little bit, you see that 12% of the celebrities that have less than 10 million Instagram followers are reality TV stars. If you move over to that last column, you see that of those celebrities with over 50 million followers, 36%, or a little bit more than 1/3, are musicians, 18% are actors, and 18% are reality TV stars. You also notice in this cross-tabulation table that if you sum down each column, it equals 100%. For instance, if you look at that second column, which has celebrities with between 10 and 50 million Instagram followers, you have the 20%, 15%, and then of course a 0%, 12, 22, 17, and then 15%. That equals 100%. Since we just looked at two approaches for moving from counts in a cell to percentages, you might be wondering which one is correct. And unfortunately, there's no right answer. It really depends on the context of the analysis and ultimately what you're trying to learn and convey to others. There are a couple of ways that we can actually make a display to show a cross-tabulation table. One is called a clustered bar chart, and the second one is called a stacked bar chart. Here's an example of a clustered bar chart, and by cluster, you can actually see 3 bars for each celebrity type. So there's a cluster of bars for actors, athletes, comedians, entrepreneurs, musicians, reality TV, and then other. And for each celebrity type, there's a bar that shows the percentage that have less than 10 million, 10 to 50 million, and over 50 million Instagram followers. Here's an example of a stacked bar chart that also shows the Instagram following by celebrity type. Instead of having 3 bars for each celebrity type, there's just 1 bar, and it's color-coded to show you for each celebrity type the percentage of celebrities that fall into each class of Instagram followers. So you can see in that third bar over, we're focusing on comedians. You see most of the bar is shown in blue to indicate that most have less than 10 million followers. You don't see any orange for comedians because, again, there were no comedians with between 10 and 50 million followers. But yet the very top of that third bar shows you the percentage of comedians that have over 50 million Instagram followers.